My name is Miranda. Welcome back to my universe. It's been so long, and I'm in a very sing-songy mood today. Now that Thanksgiving is over, I feel as though it is a perfect time to talk about the books I want to read this upcoming winter. Here in Arizona, the weather has just started to cool off. Which is really sad, honestly, because in the mornings it truly feels like winter, but then by noon it's 70 degrees and I'm sweating outside. So, but seriously, Arizona only has two weather options, okay? Really hot and warm. So take your pick. I have been in a very rereading mood lately, which is interesting and it is a bit odd for me. If you've been watching my channel for a little bit, you might already know that I just in general don't really read books a second or third time. I just never have done that really. But lately, I have been doing that a lot. And so I'm going to take advantage of that. Okay. And I want to reread some books this winter. So you better buckle up. Okay. Buckle up. We got a lot of different genres that I'm about to cover here. I did also want to say, which is super exciting, but this winter I'm getting married. Specifically in February, I'm getting married. And so I'm so over the moon. I'm so excited. But it will be a very busy season of my life. And I mean, it has been. Wedding planning has been so insane. A lot of these books I'm just kind of laying down as a foundation of what I could possibly read, but I'm not going to be putting myself under any pressure at all whatsoever. First up, the best Christmas novel ever. Can I get an amen? The Shining by Stephen King. I haven't read this one since November of 2019, so it has been quite the hot minute or cold minute since I've picked this one up. I want to read The Shining again. This is a perfect winter novel. If you are looking for something creepy, something different, maybe you don't usually read horror or have never read Stephen King before, The Shining is a perfect place to start. If you haven't read The Shining, it is basically, in a super nutshell, about a family that moves into a giant hotel to watch over it over the winter because the hotel is not open while it is snowing, and they get snowed in, and horrifying things happen. So, perfect for a family read. Read it around the fireplace. It's amazing. If you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend the movie as well. Favorite Christmas movie? Come on, you gotta give it that. On a completely unrelated note, another novel I want to read this winter is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. This is a short story that follows around the same characters that are in her Caraval series. I just recently reread Caraval for a second time. I loved it. I didn't like it as much as I did when I was a teenager, but that's okay. It is what it is. I mean, just look at that. Like that's a Christmas novel if I've ever seen one. I will be reading this year. It also appears that I will only be sitting down for a few hours to finish it. I haven't heard very much about this novel, if anything at all, actually, if I'm honest with you. Our two main characters are sisters, and I'm pretty sure we follow both of them around as well in this novel. But I could be wrong because I haven't read it yet. But that is to be changed very soon. This next book I'm going to talk about might be a little over the top. I'm a little intimidated by this author. This being said, if you've read this novel before, you've read this author, please comment down below your thoughts and feelings and encouragements, if you will, please. And thank you. I would love to read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the series. I know that this book is about a world that has a magic system, and we follow around a thief who finds out that they have magical powers. And I believe that they get wrapped up in a heist, and there are just so many things that I feel like I would enjoy so much in this novel. I just have never read Brandon Sanderson before, and I've heard so many mixed things about his writing. So honestly, I just need to give it a shot to see what my opinion is on it. This book has already been on my shelf for 2 years. It's been cooking. It's been marinating, and I feel like it's time. I feel like it's time for me to read Mistborn. I also feel like this cover just kind of gives me wintry vibes, but also I don't know if that's just because it kind of reminds me of Harry Potter. I've heard that this is a good book to start with, which is why I'm starting with it. But yes, give me any of your 2 cents if you are a Sanderson fan, or even if you've tried him and you don't like him. I still would love to hear what you have to say. These last 2 series that I'm going to be talking about are quite different from each other, but in similar ways, if that makes any sense. This is another series that I have been sitting on for a really long time. I read the first novel. I've actually read the first 2 novels, and my experience was very interesting. So I would like to give this series another chance, especially because it does feel very wintry to me, just the whole premise and all of it, the storyline, which I'll explain in a second. But I would love to pick up A Curse So Dark and Lonely again. This is a young adult fantasy trilogy, all right, and it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I know, sounds amazing, right? I love my fairy tale retellings so much. I read this first book, which is called A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. This was like one of my favorite books of the year whenever I had read it. I forget when I read it. It wasn't too long ago, though. I ate this book up. It was such a quick read for me. I loved everything. I thought that the author did such an amazing job. And then we got to the second one, A Heart So Fierce and Broken. And I gave this book 2 stars. I did not like it at all. Now that I look back on it, I feel like it might have been just because I was trying to rush my way through this novel. I just want to give it a try. This is the third novel, A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Yeah, I've never gotten to this third novel. So it's just been sitting on my shelf. I was thinking about it, and I feel like it would be a great time to read it again because I don't know what it is, but Beauty and the Beast, it's just so winter to me. Like, it's so warm and cozy, cuddle up by a fireplace and read a book. So, yeah, I'll let you know how this journey into this series goes again. All right, and then finally, the last 2 books I'm going to talk about are a duology, okay? And they're by an author I haven't talked about in a very long time. So it's about time she came back. I want to read the Stolen Heir duology by Holly Black. These books have also been on my shelves for a very long time, mainly because Holly Black is a Instabuy author for me, which is not the greatest. I have a lot of Instabuy authors. If you're unfamiliar with Holly Black's writing, she writes young adult fantasy novels. The most popular series that she's written is called The Cruel Prince. I ate it up. I loved that series so much. And for some reason, I just wasn't feeling reading this duology for quite some time, but one of my friends actually recently finished The Stolen Heir and she absolutely loved it and told me that I should just read it. I love reading fairy tales and whimsical stories in the winter just because I feel like it's so magical. It's such a magical time of the year, you know what I mean? And that is the end of my list. But of course, as many TBRs work out for me, I usually don't follow them and I usually read whatever I feel like reading because I am a terrible mood reader, which is a good and bad thing in my eyes. So, who knows if I'll actually get to all of these novels. I for sure want to read The Shining again and I want to read Mistborn. So, those are like 2 solid for sure's. That is the end of my winter TBR video. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below what your winter TBR looks like. What novels are you reading this winter? And try to convince me to join you in reading them. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I love you all so, so much. Please be safe, make good choices, and I definitely will be seeing you next time. Bye!